Hi guys, well by the title you guys obviously can tell I'm going to talk about my teen mom story. And I posted on Instagram saying how many people want to know about my teen mom story. And like usual, most of y'all said yes and some of y'all said no, and I was like okay whatever, some of y'all don't want to know, no biggie. Well, it all started in 7th grade, yeah, where I met him, his sister, and his brother. But I hanged out mostly with his sister, and from there me and his sister became like super close best friends. We did everything together. It was just me and her forever, like usual best friends, like oh me and them forever, typical mess and blah blah. Well, from there during the summer I started hanging out with her during the summer in her house, and that's where I met the baby daddy of the baby, obviously. And when I met him, he was like pretty chill to me. He was like super cool guy, like he's really funny, he's very athletic, he's one of like those kind of little troublemakers. And back then I was a huge troublemaker. I wouldn't go early to class. We would do this. In 8th grade, starting 8th grade, me and him became really close friends because the sister no longer went to that school. No longer went to the school. And we were like, oh, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, on November, me and him started becoming really chill. We were super close best friends. He was like one of those guys that would wait for me when I'm done playing volleyball practice, or he'll go to my games, some volleyball games, or he'll wait for me when I'm done trying out for basketball. He'll wait for me during basketball practice and all that. Around November 8th, he asked me out after school. And obviously I said yes, and we started dating from there. But me and my parents, as being parents, didn't like him. Not like one bit. They didn't like him at all. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, back then I was like, I don't care. I'm still gonna date him, right? And I didn't care back then. I was like, I'm still gonna be with him. I love him so much. You can't take him away from me. I had really fights with my mom and dad. But then they started accepting him a little by little, and we went everywhere. We went to the mall. He'll take me to the movies, what usually some guys do. And then we started having sexual relationships, and that's where my parents were like, you better protect yourself, you better not get pregnant, you better wear these condoms, you better take your pills every day, you better birth control. They started putting me on birth control when they found out me and him were together. And then around April, I'm gonna say 13, that's where the incident happened. But we didn't notice at first. I started waiting around a week, because by that time of week I was supposed to get my period, and I didn't get it. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then I told my boyfriend, and then he was like, he right away went to Walmart and bought a pregnancy test, and it came out positive. And we were like, oh shit. But like, we weren't really like, oh shit, like damn, you fucked up, or like, no. He was more like happy. He was like more, he wanted this, and I was more like, I'm happy, but like, what am I gonna tell my parents? Because my parents were like those strict parents, like, you fucked up your life, like if you got pregnant at that age, that ain't was cool. And I was 13 at that time, because my birthday was on May, so I got pregnant in April, so I was 13 by that time, and he was 15. And then my birthday came. I was already a month pregnant. I didn't tell them. I was 2 months pregnant. I didn't tell them. I was 3 months pregnant. I didn't tell them. I was 4 months pregnant. I didn't tell them. I was 5 months pregnant, and they started finding out a little bit. But around 6 months pregnant, that's when they found out. I started showing a lot. Around 6 months pregnant, they found out, and I didn't go to school for the first month. I didn't see him they banned me from not talking to my boyfriend. I didn't see him, talk to him, or FaceTime him or anything for 3 whole months straight. Different schools now. At that time I was 14 now. Different schools until like me and my mom had like fight. We fought for at least a good 2 months. These good 2 months, my dad accepted it. My dad was really good. My dad was chill about it. He wasn't the really strict parent. My mom was the most strict one. But he was like okay with it, because I mean he went through the same thing when he was younger, so he could kind of relate. But he didn't want his daughter to go through that. And I mean, I get it. I think every father doesn't want their daughter to go through that. And then when my sister found out, that's where I had more emotions, because she's my oldest sister, and I really did look up to her. I look up to all my siblings, because I really do love my siblings, even though I sometimes don't show it. But I do. I do love my siblings. My sister, she calls me, she's crying, and she tells me that she didn't want this for me because she went through the same thing. But she was a little bit older. She was like 16 or 17. I forgot. But she was a little bit older. He fell asleep. He was like whining and complaining. But then he was like, no one's paying attention to me. He went to sleep. Okay, back to the story. And then she was crying, and I cried. I will admit, I did cry. And I was like sad, because like, oh, I really did fuck up my life, you know, what's the point, you know? And I was going through very hard time. I was going through very strong depression time, and I didn't really know what to do at that point. But then they let me talk to my boyfriend. My boyfriend and I talked it out. He was like, you know what, we can do this, we can go through all of this. It might not be easy, but we could do it. Then my mom started being really happy about my pregnancy. And my sister comes over around December, when kids have 2 weeks off from school. She comes the first week. She comes because she wants to see the belly. She wants to touch it. She wants to hug it. She wants to do everything with the belly. I mean, I get it. I think every person wants to touch your belly. I mean, I would. I was touching it all the time. And then I started getting I was like, right at that time, I was 7 months pregnant. Wait, no, hold up. I was 7 months pregnant. No, 8 months pregnant. Yes, I was 8 months pregnant. And I started getting really bad contractions. And I was like, oh, this hurts. Oh, and by the way, it's a big boy. You guys wanted to know. And I started getting really bad contractions. I was showering, and I couldn't stay up. I had to sit back down. And then when I had to get up, I couldn't get up. And they were together every contraction. I was really scared. I mean, I'm like, oh my god, I'm not even packed. I don't have my nursery bag, everything. I have the crib, I have diapers, I had all that. I had all the baby stuff ready, but I didn't have my nursery bag ready. And I was like, oh my god. And then, like, I'm gonna say around New Year's, yes, around New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve when I got the contractions. I was like, oh shit, right? But then I went away, and I was like, oh, but it's not even bad. Nothing even happened. And then I went to my doctor. My doctor says the baby's coming out in January. He checks me, and he's like, the baby's coming. And then, oh yes, wait, I skipped my baby shower, but my baby shower wasn't really important. It was just a small family gathering thing, and it was nice. I really did like it. My baby shower will be for another video, guys. And then he was like, oh, it's coming on January 29th, because it was a 27, no, it was a 28 when he checked me around 11:30 in the morning. And he's like, just get your stuff ready, you have to rush. I'll let the hospital know you're going over there. And then we go to the hospital, and like my contractions were getting bad when I arrived at the hospital. And I didn't know what to do. I was panicking, I was worried, because I mean, every 14-year-old will be worried when they enter a hospital ready to give birth naturally, because I wanted to give birth naturally. I wanted to go through it. I wanted to see the experience. I wanted to see my baby, because with a C-section you wouldn't be able to see your baby. And then we were there for a hospital, and then we were there for like, it wasn't born on January 28th. It was the 29th, the next day, and my doctor comes and checks me. He says everything's fine. I was dilated 5 centimeters open. Damn, I can't say the word. I was like, bitch. And then, and then all the nurses start coming rushing in. All the nurses come inside. They're rushing in. They're like, literally like a whole gang of nurses coming in. They turned off my epidural. I felt everything. And then the nurse boss comes in and she's like, who the fuck turned off the epidural from the from this lady right here? And then she got mad at the nurses there. And everything. And then they tell me it's gonna be an emergency C-section. And from there, I just panicked. I was just like, an emergency? I mean, what's happening to my baby? Like, what is going on? And like, this ain't cool, you know? And then, I get my C-section, and my boyfriend's in the room, my mom's in the room, and I'm just like, okay, I think I'm a little bit more comfortable, right? And I just feel pressure on my stomach. I'm like, why are they pressuring on my stomach? But they're not really pressuring on my stomach. They're actually cutting my stomach open. And then the minute I hear that my baby cry, I cried again. But I had to hold it, because all that crying, you're pressing on your stomach a little bit, and then they can't snitch it back how it was. And then I just started crying. I was like, oh my god, my baby boy is here. Oh my god, he's the cute. I was just like, my life just started right here with him. And my boyfriend was crying, and I was like, damn, oh my god, he's finally here. And we were at the hospital for a good 4 days. The hospital, or 5. Yeah, 5. Yeah, 5 days at the hospital. And I was all excited for him to be here, my boy. And then that's where my teen mom starts. Thanks for tuning in my video, and hope I can see you on my next video. If you're new, please subscribe, put your notifications on, and like this video.